Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
This is Fang by Night, and you tuned into the right station. BODS Mayhem Hour, that's where it's at, and you're there.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather, and as always, I'm bringing you Ghouls and Goblins awesome interviews. That's right, Ghouls and Goblins. Happy Halloween to every one of you out there, and please get your parents to take you out trick-or-treating. Have some fun with this. Parents, also, if you're going to go out and have a good time, be responsible. Don't be a dumbass. Get a DD if you have to. Please, just be responsible. Be adults, folks. Come on. We want to see you the next day, not go to your funeral or anything like that. So anyway, we have an awesome interview set up here with you guys. I want to welcome back Fang, guitarist and vocalist of the House of Haunt. The House of Haunt have released their third album entitled Blood on the Silver Screen, which comes out this month and marks the return of their original member, the Red Duke on keyboards. Founding member Skulls changed from drums to bass, and the recruitment of a new drummer brings in Ratcliffe Turpin. Blood on the Silver Screen album is dedicated to Ashley Elizabeth Wilder. We're going to be talking to Fang about all this stuff and a lot of cool stuff we're going to be talking about. So Fang, man, welcome back, and how's it going?
It's great. Love being here, buddy. Love chatting with you. It's amazing.
I like that. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. So let's jump right into this because you guys have been kind of busy here. So Blood on the Silver Screen is the House of Haunt's third album. How does it feel to be able to put out a full-length album today, especially since so much has changed in the music world for bands now? And you know that just as well as I do. You know,
we had a lot of thought into that, actually, because we were talking about maybe doing a little bit more programming and less real instruments, just because it's a little bit faster. And in the markets today, people don't seem to make the difference. But we decided, no, we always thought of that as kind of cheating ourselves anyways. And we're going to stick and try and do this as grassroots as we could in terms of the music. So, but I love it. Like I look at my CDs and I have them mounted on the wall, and there's three. There's three now, and like there's plans for four. I don't know when four is going to happen, but we're still doing it. And a lot of the bands that we started out playing with when we were beginning, a lot of them have broken up. Like I can count, I need more than my hands and my toes the amount of guys that had these excellent bands, excellent content, and they couldn't keep it together. So I got to thank my lucky stars that I just got a good group of guys and a good support from the people I live with and I live around, my friends and family and the fans and other musicians. Just to give us all what we need to keep going and to keep putting out excellent music. Release
third album. Did you ever expect to have three? Possibly now going on down the road, a fourth one?
The plan was never to stop. So I'm happy to have the third one, but it's not surprising. Like and like I said, my bandmates. Well, they've been with Skull's been with me the whole time, and the Red Duke, even though he wasn't part of the band, he was still a big supporter of it in his own way. So I'll just keep making music as long as I can. Not surprising. That's the kind of person I am, or the kind of people we are. We'll never be satisfied with 4, 5, 6. Just keep going.
Getting the Red Duke back, man, what does that mean for this band and having him back into it? What has he brought back to the band possibly?
Oh, you're going to hear on this album, the keys play a larger piece. We were kind of going in, I don't want to say in more of a metal direction, but we had more metal influences on our last album, whereas this one we move closer into, I want to call it classic House of Haunt sound. So the things that you liked maybe on Monsters on the Loose, you might hear again now on Blood on the Silver Screen. It kind of changed how we recorded a bit as well. Not in the technology, but just in the laughing around, the joking around, the spitting up of ideas and the back and forth on what do we want it to look like? What do we want it to sound like? What kind of jokes or hidden messages do we want to put in? And, he's got a pretty good head on his shoulders for humor. So you get a little taste of that if you're quick, if you can catch these little things.
Now, after the Duke came back in on keyboards, Skulls, he went from drumming to bass, and that brought in drummer Ratcliffe Turpin. Bringing him into the band, what has he added as drumming?
I don't want to put Skull down, and he's the proponent of this more than I am, but Skull, he believes that he was a bassist growing up, and he's always been more involved in playing bass. And as a drummer, he was always just kind of the drummer because no one else in the band knew how to play the drums. And that was in this band, the House of Haunt, and in other projects he had in his life. He was always just kind of the drummer because there was no other drummer. So his passion is in bass. And he feels that Ratcliffe Turpin, who has been a drummer for far many more years than Skull ever was, that this is a really good fit. Skull is where he belongs. Ratcliffe Turpin is a very seasoned drummer. We can get more out of him. The sound might be a little bit bigger. And I know the recording was a bit easier as well.
What's impressed or excited you the most about making the new album, if anything? Was there anything you wanted to add differently to this album that didn't get added to the previous album, possibly?
We had more time. We had more time with this album. We switched studios for several reasons. It being just closer, and it allowed us to be in the studio more often. So what I really like about this album is I never really had the chance to lay down too much backing vocals on our other albums. There's some, and there's some group. It's more like group vocals. Whereas on this one, on several songs, you've got a lot more backing vocals. And I could also spend more time getting even just my foreground vocals just right. We had more time for vocals in this one, and more time for other instruments. Like instead of doing two, you do two guitars for each side, one for the right and one for the left, and then you drive the lead guitar up the center. I think we ended up with 5 guitars on the tracks. Now, it won't sound like there's 5 guitars because you fiddle with the volume, right, on the ones on the outside. But it does, if you've got a really keen ear, it adds a subtle power to the sound. Yeah, and just having more time in the studio, really, I could go on and on about the things like we could do this, we could do that. We had more time for this. It wasn't as stressful. We didn't have to race through stuff, right? We could, let's do it again. I could do better than that. No, let's try this. This lead works better. I've been practicing it this way, but let me try it this way once. Oh, yeah, that really worked, or that really didn't. But we didn't have to look at our watch and say oh shit, well, we just wasted a whole bunch of money on that because it didn't work. Having more time just allows for more creativity. So you're going to, I think, find more creativity in this album.
Do you have any songs that didn't make this album that's going to be possibly down the road on another one, maybe?
No, we don't work that way. Okay. We write a bunch of songs, we practice them, then we decide which ones are going to be on the album. And I guess very early, I'll write a song, we'll practice it twice, and just be nah, that's not what we want to sound like. So it goes in the dustbin, we throw it away. We never see this again. Everything that we want to show people and we want to play and we want it to be heard is on the album. There's no, after we finish an album, then we start another writing period. There's no unused material.
Writing these new songs, though, did it push you out of your comfort zone in a way, maybe possibly that you're not used to?
When we're writing material, the more material we write, the harder it is to write songs that aren't exactly like all the other songs we have, right? The more you write, the more creative and the different you have to be. And you don't want to get too far away from your sound either. You don't want to become a whole new band and a whole new sound. So it gets more difficult as time goes on. And on this album, there's a couple of songs that I think are sounds you haven't heard from the House Haunt. It's not a different sport, but maybe you're listening to a different team. I don't know if that makes sense, but our song Mary Mallon is very different from what you have already heard out of us. And we did a song called Fang by Night. Again, it's we finally got to put in a surf beat. It's not necessarily a surf tune, but if you know surf music, there's a specific rhythm to it. And we got to use that rhythm in Fang by Night. It worked really well. And it's something that we've never done on the drums before. It's not featured in any other song. So yeah, it meant when I sit down and I write and I go through a chord progression and I say, that sounds really good. That sounds really good. And then I have to think, have I already done that? Oh, shit. Yes. Or, oh, I did that in another key. So, maybe a few more crumpled up pieces of paper are in the trash bin. But I'm really happy with what we did come up with.
How long did it take to write and complete the album?
Looking at the album now, we wrote the first one in about 9 months or so. 9 months, 10 months. It was just before Christmas when I wrote the first song that eventually made it onto this album.
Do you feel like it's better to have an album that took you 9 months to complete to a year versus 2-3 weeks to complete? Do you feel like it's more of a better completed album having that lengthy amount of time?
I've listened to guys who do their albums in 6 weeks, and I don't really want to put them down because they may sound amazing live. They might sound good when you sit down with them in a room and they play it out and they sing it. But when you rush a recording just so you can fire something out in 6 weeks and be done with it, your product is going to suffer. You should take some serious time to do this. So I'm not saying how long that really needs to be. But the more time you take, probably the better it's going to sound. It's going to be. I mean, some guys, they'll be like, oh, this album was 6 years in the making or something, which might be a little drastic, but listen to their album. Does it suck? Probably not, right? It's probably really killer.
Any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on the album, possibly? I know you're close to these, and I know that it must change every time you listen to it, but are there any tracks that are standing out to you, possibly?
Yeah, 3. There's Bloodhouse, and that one stands out to me because you mentioned our 4 members, but we're actually, right now we're at 6 members, because we also have Mega Wolf, who is one of our stage performers and makes it out to almost every show. He lives quite far from us. He moved away. And so it's difficult for him to go to every show, but he is at 80% of the shows. But the one thing he does every day for us is the artwork, the album artwork on this album, the previous album, on some of our show posters, and just anything that we might post on our Instagram or whatever. It's done by him. So big thanks to Mega Wolf for helping us out and getting us some killer artwork. Our other member, our 6th member, is Anesthesia. Again, she is a stage performer. She was a stage performer for a good long time. She still does the stage performer stuff, but you'll hear her vocals on a few of these tracks. And Anastasia actually helped me to write the lyrics and kind of the music, help me fit the music for Bloodhouse. And there has been other collaborations on other songs in the past, and they're good songs too. But for me, it was really good to work with Anastasia on this, and I was really proud with the product. And I was in a bit of a rut at the time in terms of writing, so to fall back on somebody and come up with something that was so strong was really interesting for me. So I'm really proud of that track. You're also going to hear Hetzhund on the album. We're super thrilled with this one because it's going to be featured in an upcoming film called Hetzhund, The Duke of Crows by Ryan Kobold. I think he's the executive producer. And we were given, I think it was just a post or something off of his page looking for bands to do the music, to do the title track. And so we responded, and he's like, yeah, okay, I need it by, it was November. And he's like, I need it by the end of December. Here's the script. Read the script, get something out. And so that one was a bit hectic. I was talking earlier about don't rush your music. I mean, I guess we had to rush. There was a time limit on this, right? It was time sensitive, but I dropped every other responsibility in my life, as did my bandmates. And we just fired through this thing. We read the script. We tried to interpret it into a song, and it worked really well. The song is killer, and we're going to be so proud to see that up on the big screen. So yeah, check out Hetzhund, check out the new album, check out Hetzhund, The Duke of Crows, the upcoming film. The last track that I really like is it's called Drinking with the Boys. And every band, we play with a lot of bands that every song they play is drinking with the boys. It's all drinking music. Drink this, drink that. Oh, we're going downtown to the bar and whatever. And I have kind of stayed away from that. We don't have a drinking song on any other album. Maybe Rum from the Black Lagoon, but that's about a guy turning into a monster after drinking something. So it's not really about the drinking. But we sat aside and we're like, we need that song for when, we're getting a lot more headlining gigs. When they ask for an encore and everybody's hammered. We need a drinking song. We need a drinking song. So we wrote Drinking with the Boys, and it is exactly what you think it is. It's just a song everybody can learn the lyrics to very quickly, and it's all about drinking. What do you expect? One line is like, a call from the wife would ruin our fun, right? You don't want a responsibility to knock on your door when you're on your 200th beer down at the bar. You want to drink with the boys every Friday night. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun to record, to write, to sing, to play to crowds. It's a fun tune, and it's different. It's not something you'd hear out of the House of Haunt normally. But not every song needs to be super, super complicated. Sometimes you just need that simple song that everybody can get behind, and that's what that is.
Congrats on the movie nod, man. That's pretty awesome.
Well, it's not out yet, but it's going to be. It's going to be. He's a very professional guy. If he says it's coming out, it's coming out. If it's not out right now, it's because they want it to be perfect, and they want to make sure that it's secure the best deal they can. So once we get a date on this thing, I'll be the absolute first person to just shout it from the rooftop, because we're all so psyched. But making a movie is a long and hard process. So you got to be patient.
Fang, was it hard to choose between the current set of songs, which one would be the first single or video you wanted to release or push first for the album, or did you have outside help to decide on this?
I think if we had to pick a single from it, it would have to be Headshund. It's going to have the most emphasis behind it. It being a part of a feature film, it's a given. We wrote that knowing that it was going to be our single as well, right? Because how many times are you going to be like, whoa, we'll use that in our film? Oh, yeah, shit, yeah. I'll make sure it's really good.
What do you hope everyone takes away from, or message you hope they hear while listening to any of the House of Haunts music in general? What do you hope everybody gets from it or takes away from it?
I hope when people listen to the album that they hear classic House of Haunt. I know it's new, and new stuff can tend to be a little bit different, and this is a little bit different, but I hope that it's like it meets their expectations. I know it will. It's for me, it's kind of been a return to the sound. We had some shuffling, and we had the Red Duke is back, right? So what we originally were all about and what we tried to hold on to, I think, really shines in this album. So when people listen to it, I hope they go like, my favorite song was Friday Night Creature Feature, first album. It was the best track. Well, wait, no. This is just like that, but different. It makes me feel that way, but it's a new, cool sound. That's what I hope people get when they listen to the album.
The album was recorded and mixed by Mihai Truska at Sugar Bear Studios. How's working with him, and did he get anything out of you guys possibly that maybe somebody else may not have gotten, possibly?
A lot of laughs. We had a lot of laughs. It was when it needed to be a relaxed space, it was a relaxed space. We could go there and chill with his dogs and just watch a stupid video and record a stupid sound bite and then just throw it away. But when it needed to be serious, he had all the tools and all the know-how to get the job done, to make it sound as best as he could. The other real thing I was really impressed with is when I got the first edits back, I listened to them and I was like, this needs to change. I had like a list of like 30 things that needed to change. And as opposed to him say like, oh, I guess like we did a shitty job or something like that. He's like, you know what? We're going to tackle each and every one of these things. And then when we do a second edit on this, we're going to do you can give me another list of 30 and we'll tackle that. We'll tackle that until there's nothing left on that list. And there's nothing left on that list. We were always welcome to come back and do it one more time, change it however we wanted, because he just wanted the absolute best product and the House of Haunt to sound as good as it possibly could. So I was really impressed. If you're looking for someone in the GTA, the Greater Toronto area, or even just Southern Ontario, I suggest you give Mihai Truska at Sugar Bear Studios a jangle, because he loves making music. That's why he does it.
All right, so Mega Wolf did the artwork for the album, and you did the rest of it. So let's talk about this a little bit. What direction did you guys want to go with the artwork?
The album had a title before we knew exactly what the artwork was going to look like. We thought Blood on the Silver Screen. I think we were originally going to call it Blood on the Silver Scream, And that went back and forth, and we settled on screen. We thought, it doesn't need to be that tongue-in-cheek. So once we got Blood on the Silver Screen, we were like, well, what kind of screen? The TV screen, the theater screen, or the drive-in screen? And, I don't mind telling you, I just got Shudder, the TV broadcasting app, Shudder, like, I don't know, 8-9 months ago. And since I've gotten that, man, I love me my Joe Bob Briggs. And last drive-in with Joe Bob Briggs. And I've been going to the drive-in back in the summer. I went, I think, twice. There were some good horror flicks out this summer. So the drive-in just, it brought back a lot of memories from when I was a kid and go to the drive-in. And everybody was kind of on board. They're like, drive-in, got to do a drive-in. So the artwork is of the drive-in. And there's a bunch of classic cars because Skull is a huge classic car fan. And if you're going to do cars, they might as well be classic cars. Like, you don't want to put a Honda on your cover art, right? It's just not going to give the right kind of feeling to have a tuner car and then like a station wagon. And no. It's got to be classic cars. And then who's going to be in the classic car, right? Well, it's the House of Haunt. What else could it be? Two zombies making out. It had to be that. And then just to kind of complete the artwork, it's called Blood on the Silver Screen. So like the border and all that blood, right? Makes the most sense.
Do you like the growth musically of this band where it's going right now, with this album compared to the rest?
This album is just another affirmation of what the House of Haunt has always been doing, and that is continuing to explore new riffs, new chord progressions, new direction, and still keep the root sound. I'm not surprised at our choices in doing things a little bit differently. It was the same on the last album. Like the last album, we did Run from the Black Lagoon, which was very different, softer sound. And we had some songs that were a little more metal sounding. So for us to continue to grow, I say, hell yeah, we always grow.
I want to talk about this for a little bit because I think this is, we need to give a little shout out on this. Blood on the Silver Screen album is dedicated to Ashley Elizabeth Wilder. Let's talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind, and why you guys wanted to dedicate this to her.
So the Red Duke, when he rejoined our band, he was dating Ashley. And unfortunately, she got very sick, very ill, and she passed away. And so that hit the Red Duke very hard. And, the band tried to be there for him as much as we could. I, myself, if you haven't figured it out, he's my brother. So it was a big event for him and for his family and our family. So it was just one of many ways we're trying to honor Ashley's memory and keep her in our hearts.
What does the House of Haunt bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now, if anything? I know no one's reinventing the wheel, but what are you guys adding to that wheel? A ton of fun.
Come to our show. You think you've had fun before? Man, bands don't put in the effort they used to. Like, want to see Guar for $10 instead of $60? Come to a House of Haunt show. That's what we're all about. We love interacting with people. We make sure our performers and our performance gets out into the crowd and the crowd gets on stage. We want to make sure that, the thing that blew your mind was the sound, the tightness, the visuals, the actions, the smells, the tastes of the show. When was the last time you heard a band say, oh, taste is a big part of our show? We want to make sure they got the right taste in their mouth. Well, we thought about it. We've got tastes out there for you to enjoy and experience because it's a package. It's not one of five senses. It's not music. It's all five senses. We want to hit all of those. And we do every time. Doesn't matter 50 people, doesn't matter 500 people, 5,000 people. I wish. But we do it every time. We hit those five senses. We bring the big show to the big venues, and we bring the big show to the little venues. And we love doing it.
It takes that one show, man, for somebody that's in a higher caliber to see you guys and be like, hey, this band's legit. They're not phoning it in, and you can tell they're not. So it just takes that one time, man, so don't give up.
Oh, no. No, I never will. I would do this whether that man was in the audience or not, whether he comes or never shows up, or she comes or she never shows up. This is something I do primarily for me. And that's the same with all my guys in the band. They all do it because they love doing it. And it's a bonus that other people like seeing us and like hearing us. We love you when you come up and chat with us. So please never be afraid to come up and chat with us. That's all. That's totally part of the experience. The community, the friends, we love it all.
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that the House of Haunt gets support from, or the music even gets played in that area possibly?
Yeah, I wish I could remember the name of the town, but it was South America. I want to say Brazil. Don't quote me on it. Just the fact that we could make it past the Panama Canal, amazing. Europe, it's extremely exciting that our music's made it to Europe, but for me, that just seems like more likely to happen. I mean, Canada and the United States are filled with European immigrants. I suppose so is South America, but South America just seems so far away. It's like, well, all that separates Canada and America from Europe and Africa is like an ocean, right? An empty space that, you just send a ship and they're there. But to get to South America, like, you got to go through the U.S., through Mexico, through Panama, through like all these countries, right? Yeah, so I'm thrilled to be played in Brazil.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up the House of Haunt's third album entitled Blood on the Silver Screen. You will not be disappointed. These guys and gals, they have some awesome music that's out there as of right now. And I'm telling you what, like I said, you will not be disappointed. Fang, how can folks stay in touch with you guys? Buy this album, tour dates, all that good stuff when all this goes down. How can they do that?
Instagram, Facebook, email, houseofhaunt@gmail.com. You can actually see we have a few different Instagrams and Facebooks now because we've decided our characters each need like their own accounts. Anastasia has one. Mega Mike, I think it's Mega Mike, and then his birth year, I can't remember. That's Mega Wolves. Ratcliffe has one. Skull has one. I have one. There's so many ways to get in touch with us. I think even my phone number is even on the House of Haunt page. So give me a call. Yeah, it's out there. You want to get us? Google search it. It'll show up right away.
Before I let you go, would you care to do a promo, as always, for the show?
Absolutely. This is Fang by Night, and you tuned into the right station. BODS Mayhem Hour. That's where it's at, and you're there.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link, YouTube link, and you want to subscribe to our YouTube link because anything and everything that we do will go up on the YouTube link and also on the podcast link as well. Get out and check out the House of Haunt. Pick up their third album entitled Blood on the Silver Screen. Pick up their old stuff. You will not be disappointed, folks. And I'm telling you right now, happy Halloween. Have some fun, folks. We'll see you next time, Fang. I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck as always.
Back at you, buddy.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.